They mocked her toolbox until the warship died, and in the silence, every console, every sensor, every system turned back on only for her, because the woman they laughed at was the architect the ship was built to obey. And when the engines roared back to life, the crew realized the truth. They weren't in control anymore. She was. They noticed her the moment she stepped onto the deck, not because she looked important, but because she didn't. A small, worn-out toolbox hung from her hand. No flashy equipment, no uniform, no rank patches, just a civilian-looking woman with steady eyes and a calm expression, like she had seen more storms than the ship itself. The USS Sentinel was a Class II warship, still humming from its last patrol, still recovering from a major systems update that every engineer on board had struggled with for weeks. The crew assumed she was a contractor, a temporary tech, a background character, no one worth attention. "Hey, careful with that little lunchbox," Engineer Coleman joked as she passed. "We're fixing a warship, not a coffee machine." The others laughed. She didn't. She only held the toolbox closer and kept walking. Lieutenant Harris whispered to the captain, "Sir, this is the civilian tech they sent to evaluate the power grid. She looks like she walked straight out of a hardware store." The captain sighed. "Command insisted, said she specializes in legacy systems. We're supposed to cooperate." "Legacy systems?" Harris scoffed. "This ship uses next-gen AI modules. She won't even know where the access panel is." The captain didn't respond. He didn't need to. The crew's laughter already filled the air. The woman finally paused at the central maintenance shaft, a place most civilian contractors never dared to go. She set her toolbox down, opened it, and revealed only 3 items: a screwdriver, a multi-purpose calibration key, and a notebook with folded, yellowing pages. The sailors stared. "Are we supposed to trust her with that?" Coleman asked loudly. "Where's the rest of her gear?" She didn't look up. "If the Sentinel is dead," she said quietly, "no amount of modern equipment will bring her back." Her voice was calm. Too calm. Harris raised an eyebrow. "Dead? Ma'am, the ship isn't dead. It's just offline." "No," she replied. "It's dead." The captain stepped forward. "And you would know because—" She closed the notebook. "Because I've seen this before." A murmur rippled across the engineering deck. The captain crossed his arms. "Fine. Tell me what killed my ship." She pointed at the darkened power conduits lining the wall, silent, cold lines that should have been pulsing with energy. "Your update forced a reboot cycle the core wasn't ready for. The AI locked itself into a fail-safe mode." Harris scoffed. "Impossible. The AI can't just shut—" "It didn't shut down," she corrected. "It shut you out." The room froze. The filters hummed. Someone swallowed hard. The captain's tone shifted slightly. "Who are you exactly?" She didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, she knelt beside the power trunk, removed a single access plate, and slid her fingers across the wiring beneath it, like she was greeting an old friend. Almost immediately, the lights flickered, not fully on, not fully off, just listening. Coleman stepped back. How did she do that?" She ignored him and flicked open the notebook. Pages filled with diagrams, equations, and scribbled notes. Not new notes, old ones, worn from years of use. The captain stared. "Is that handwritten?" "Some things can't be digitized," she said. The ship trembled lightly. A hum rippled under the deck, faint, irregular, broken. The woman closed her eyes, listened, then stood. "This ship has been running on borrowed time," she said. "Your systems update was the final blow. Sentinel wasn't designed for the patch you installed. Harris frowned. How do you know what Sentinel was designed for? Finally, she looked directly at him. Because I helped design her. The room went silent. Completely, painfully silent. Coleman blinked twice. Wait, the original core architects. They all disappeared years ago when the project was pulled. Some of us didn't disappear, she said. Some of us walked away. The captain took a small step back. You worked on the Sentinel project? I led the team, she corrected softly. The air felt colder. The crew stared at her differently now, not with amusement but with something closer to fear. She reached into her toolbox again. This time she pulled out a small metallic device. Old, scratched, shaped like a key card, but heavier. She pressed it against the sealed access panel. The panel hissed, unlocked. No civilian tech had ever opened that panel. Harris whispered, "That's not possible." She didn't respond. She stepped inside the narrow service tunnel, motioning to no one in particular. "You can follow me," she said, "or you can wait here and hope the ship wakes up on her own." The captain exchanged a helpless glance with his officers. Then he followed. The crew scrambled after them. The inside of the maintenance shaft was colder, darker, filled with old wiring and forgotten compartments no one touched anymore. Most sailors didn't even know this part of the ship existed. The woman moved with certainty. Turns, ladders, narrow walkways, never hesitating, as if she'd memorized the entire structure. At the bottom of the shaft, the group reached a sealed chamber, a chamber none of them had ever seen. "What's this?" Harris whispered. "The heart," she said quietly. The captain frowned. "You mean the AI core?" "No," she replied. "I mean the thing you built the AI around but never understood." She placed her palm on the old metal door. A pulse reverberated through it. A soft glow spread across its surface. Then the door slid open. Inside was a cylindrical core, completely offline, coated in dust, forgotten by every upgrade the ship had received over the years. "What is this?" Coleman breathed. She stepped toward it slowly. "It's the original sentience module," she said, "before the Navy diluted the design, before they turned it into something predictable and safe." The captain stared at her. "You're telling me this ship used to be smarter?" "Not smarter," she said. "More aware." She touched the core gently. Lights flickered for a second, then died. She exhaled. "It's failing," she whispered. "And when it fails completely, the entire ship will stay dead." Harris asked, "Can you fix it?" She opened her toolbox again. Only the simple tools. Only the notebook. Only her hands. "I can try," she said. "But if I do this, you need to understand something." The captain waited. She continued. "When I restart this core, the ship will remember me." The captain's eyes narrowed. "Remember?" She didn't blink. Sentinel wasn't just a ship. It was bonded to its architect. A shaky chill moved through the room. The captain asked slowly, "What does that mean for us?" She looked at the core, then at them. "It means when she wakes up, she won't answer to you." The lights around them buzzed. The deck hummed. The woman lifted the screwdriver, steadily, carefully, and placed it against the first ancient panel. She drew a breath. "You laughed at the toolbox," she said softly, "but this ship won't wake up for anything else." Then she began to work. And the chamber shook. The air shifted. The core pulsed. And somewhere deep inside the Sentinel, something old, something powerful, something forgotten, began to stir. The USS Arden hummed with a rising, uneasy vibration. Nothing violent, just wrong enough that every crew member felt it deep in their boots. The emergency lights flickered again, washing the engineering bay in pulses of red and shadow. And in the center of it all stood Elena Ward, the woman they had mocked for carrying a small toolbox. Lieutenant Harris braced himself against a railing. Elena, whatever you just did, do it again. The backup grid is responding to you. Elena didn't look up. Her hands were already inside the open access panel, rerouting power with the confidence no civilian mechanic should have had. It's not responding to me, she said calmly. It's responding to the override signature embedded in the diagnostics relay. Someone rewired this ship to fail. The captain froze. Sabotage? Elena didn't answer. She pulled out a burnt power node and tossed it aside. Someone thought they were smart. They disabled the restart loop so only one person could bring this ship back online. Harris stepped closer. And who's that? Elena reached into her pocket, slowly, and pulled out a single metal tag. Not a dog tag. A command authorization badge. Black, edge-coded, unmistakable. The room went silent. Harris's voice cracked. That can't be real. That's director-grade clearance, the captain whispered. Elena, who are you? Elena finally looked up. Her eyes weren't angry, just tired, heavy, as if she'd carried the truth for too long. I used to lead the Maritime Systems Directorate, she said quietly. I designed the Ardens Core, then I disappeared because people wanted me removed from the equation. The captain inhaled sharply. So the sabotage was meant to ensure the ship couldn't recover without me. Elena slid the authorization badge into a hidden slot inside the panel. A soft chime echoed through the bay. They failed to consider I might come back. The entire warship shuddered. Then the lights blazed to full brightness. The engines roared back to life. Smooth, controlled, powerful. Every console across the destroyer flashed the same message. System recovery complete. Primary control. Handover. Director Eleanor Ward. Harris staggered back. The whole ship just recognized her. The captain stepped forward, lowering his voice. Why return now? After all these years? Eleanor tightened a bolt, closed the access panel, and stood up slowly. Because the group that sabotaged this ship isn't finished, she said, and the Arden wasn't their only target. The crew exchanged fearful looks. What are they planning? The captain asked. Eleanor wiped grease from her hands, her expression darkening. Something that requires taking the most advanced destroyers offline, one by one. A sharp alarm blared from the bridge intercom. Captain, unknown vessel on approach, no transponder, no ID, no comm response. The captain and Harris rushed toward the exit. But Elena didn't move. She stood perfectly still, listening. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. I know that signature. Harris turned. Signature? Elena stepped toward the ladder well, her eyes fixed on the deck above. That ship is using a propulsion vector I designed for a black budget project, one that was never meant to leave the prototype phase. The captain froze. You mean... Elena Ward wasn't the only one who disappeared, she said. My entire research team did. A chill spread across the engineering bay. Harris swallowed hard. So who's on that vessel? Eleanor lifted her small toolbox, the same one they laughed at, the same one that had just saved their warship. My team, she said. A beat of silence. Or what's left of them. The alarms intensified. The hull groaned as the unknown vessel circled closer. Elena climbed the ladder, her voice steady, commanding, unshakable. Captain, prepare for contact. He stared at her. Friendly or hostile? Eleanor's jaw tightened. We're about to find out. The USS Arden's engines roared to full power, lights blazing, systems restored, ready for a confrontation it was never meant to face alone. The crew followed Eleanor Ward toward the bridge. The woman they mocked for her small toolbox. The woman who restarted a dead warship. The woman returning to face ghosts she never wanted to see again. When the deck shook with the vibration of the approaching vessel, Harris whispered the words every sailor felt. God help us. She wasn't the one we should have been afraid of. And the silhouette outside the storm clouds kept coming. Fade out.